Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of It's a Progressive World. As usual, you can find timestamps down below, and please like and subscribe. Alrighty, Sam, give us a quick tease. Let's see what you have in store for us today.
So we have I think, fun episode, a lot of quick stories, and a lot of characters. And the theme, I think, that connects them all is, as always, to be honest, incompetency. And we'll have creatures of the supernatural from um, Mexico to Mark Zuckerberg and his metaverse, to Scott Adams, his views to race, John Fetterman and his struggles with depression, January 6th updates, which I'm sure you love, the left in America and what they're up to these days, and just center, I guess, not left, and all that. Talk a little bit about all those things. And besides supernatural creatures, you also have another type of creature which is kind of supernatural. French and German philosophers. We'll be talking about those guys. We'll give some quick updates regarding geopolitics, as well as Iranian politics, and we'll discuss Bernie Sanders' new media sort of tour that he's going through in UK and US a little bit, and reactions, obviously, to that, and some fantastic videos from Matt Hancock, one of the favorite characters in the whole wide world. Probably I'm even not sure if he's a real person. So it's gonna be fun, I think. But that's about it. Oh, and just to mention, sadly, an Iranian philosopher slash social scientist passed away, and we'll discuss his work a little bit as well. It relates to, I'm a huge fan, and yeah, great shame that he's lost. So that's about it for our tease. Any
That
comments?
was
Anything you
impressive.
wanna?
That was very impressive. And did you rehearse that? Have you been spending all day in front of a mirror
I
rehearsing the
I
tease?
rehearsed it once. I had notes. It's
That was
very
very
hard
impressive.
when it's very hard when you're
Nah,
alone too. Yeah.
nah, but great
And,
stuff. I look forward, and I'm glad you also incorporated a few of the things that I had sent you. I appreciate that. I
oh, of
appreciate.
course. Yes, yes, of
Nice,
course.
nice, nice, nice. But yeah, everything looked good in there. I haven't seen the Matt Taibbi and Briahna Gray one. However, I'm pretty sure I could reenact what happened on that podcast without watching it. So I don't know how much of an issue that is. Alrighty, Sam, as we just got caught up here, I was just saying, all of it looks like a lot of great stuff. Look forward. And then I said that I haven't seen the Matt Taibbi and Briahna Gray interview. However, I'm pretty sure I could
That's been by
reenact
design.
what they both say. Do you think I have a chance of word by word saying going through both of their arguments, not having watched it, or no?
I think you do have a very good chance, and and it was by design. I didn't want you to see it, actually, and I was a bit upset that even in the tease I clicked on it. I kind of didn't want to,
Uh,
but yeah. But now you've seen it, so yeah. We'll go through it. It's quite. There's just one bit in it which is really really interesting, but it's, yeah, everything else is quite cliche.
Yeah, and because I mean not cliche necessarily, I would say, but also Brianna's side, she's already had this debate with Glenn Greenwald. And of course Matt Taibbi, I know his positions. So yeah, if I had two actors here, I could quickly script, I think, the episode and give him to, okay, you're Matt Taibbi, you're but let's see. Maybe I'm
We'll see. We'll
mistaken
see. Actually,
and cocky, and as you said, the theme of this show is incompetence and probably includes me. So
yes, it does. So. Not me, but he's included.
all right, I suggest that we take a break. I think your internet also needs to catch its breath or something, and we'll come back
Then,
and
yeah.
start the show. Alrighty, Sam. I think the three of us are back, you, I, and your internet, and we're all here present.
And Ron DeSantis.
And run the sentence.
So very briefly, this is not even something, I didn't even finish this goddamn article. But
How's
have
that
you heard that
possible? It's
Ron?
four pack. It's 4 Guardian paragraphs. You
It's
have
4
it.
Guardian paragraphs. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. However, it was I don't know if you heard about the Ron DeSantis is pushing his tyrannical agenda on the mouse. The mouse kingdom is getting invaded by the Floridians, I suppose. You know, what is that? I forget. What is the name of that country in the middle of South Africa? Do you
Oh
remember?
yeah,
Namibia? I
I
forget.
know
No,
about
it's not.
it, but I don't
Yeah,
think I ever
it
memorized
feels
it.
like
It's not
uh,
Swaziland, or no, no.
could be. I, sorry, very bad at geography, but it does feel like Disneyland is going through very similar bros. It's having a similar situation as they had. They're surrounded by a bunch of racists all around, and they're coming for them. All right. No offense to people in
Lesotho,
Florida.
sorry. I was still stuck there, but
Seriously,
yeah,
that's the name of the country,
easy.
Lesotho.
Good name. But yeah.
Ah, oh, never. All right. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as calling it a good name, but it is a name. But yeah, so this, this is kind of, I thought this kind of is a good place to start because the theme of the episode is just politicians and all that being incompetent. And since they can't do anything about anything real, they attack the mouse kingdom. And it's, it's, I guess, the thing is, Disney is a corrupt organization, obviously, but not because of the reasons Ron DeSantis is attacking it currently. And
Yeah.
did you ever hear about the Scott Adams? I told you about this,
Yep,
and it
yep,
became a
yep, yep.
big news.
Yeah, it continues. It's
Remember
been
that?
a few weeks now, no? It's been like 2 weeks at
Yeah,
least.
it's become a censorship thing, which I don't think it should be
Because
because
he got fired?
I don't. Yeah, because I don't think Twitter. If you get like banned on Twitter, I can understand online, but like getting fired from New York Times drawing cartoon, that's not censorship. That's losing your job, isn't
Yeah,
it? I think no, I'm just saying
for sure.
it's
I
like being
guess
a
then someone
writer
might
for a.
say, no, I
Sorry, go
meant
ahead.
canceling. Then someone might say, no, I meant canceling, which I mean, he still got
I just
fired. And
think
yeah, and some,
what I think like a literally magazine shouldn't be allowed to
yeah.
fire people who they want to
No,
fire. So
100%.
literally,
Yeah.
no, because this is
And I
not
mean, what do
Twitter.
you
This is New
expect
York
of them?
Times.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. No,
You know what
I
I'm
see.
saying? Like it's if it was public television, if NPR said we'll
Yeah.
never have a Scott Adams on, that's bad. But like, I mean, I believe in nationalized media, but I don't think New York Times needs to be national. You know, it's not
I
a
would take
public
over
square.
that
I don't
building.
know.
No, no, I would take the building though.
To be
I'd be
fair,
like,
yeah,
everybody empty the
yeah.
building, please.
We have actual homeless people who can actually do things, unlike you. There is a gulag waiting for all you so-called writers.
No, I'll replace them with those, famous 1960s or 70s or so-called old school journalists that some people
Oh, Matt
talk
Taibbi
about
loves
and
the
romanticize a
ugly
lot too.
journalist.
This ugly journalist.
Matt Taibbi and his ugly.
Yeah, he's very close to
Old.
saying that, be like, now they're all good looking and stuff. Back then you saw one, you want
Big
to throw up, but
showers.
that's a
It's
journalist.
none of. I haven't seen one bald journalist in years. This is ridiculous. All of everybody's pretty, prancing around in their
Shower.
shorts. Oh god damn. So yeah, man, we should have. I just again, whatever. And did you hear about this? My probably favorite story from 2 weeks
Yes.
ago. This was
Yes. I mean, I
awesome.
read the
This
article
was.
you sent me, but
Isn't he great? What's his name? Manuel Lopez Obrador. He's great, isn't
so
he?
tell
He's just
people what
amazing.
he's saying, what he's doing.
Well, he has shared a picture on his Twitter, this picture to be specific, which he claims shows a creature of supernatural kind that is talked about in, let me just read it, The Guardian. Mexican president posted a photo on his social media account on Saturday showing what he said appeared to be a mythological woodland spirit, similar to an elf. Similar to an elf. camera, not an elf, but similar to, like just same culture, but not the same genetics. I don't know. Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador did not seem to be joking when he posted the photo of an alux, a mischievous woodland spirit in Maya folklore. Lopez Obrador wrote that the photo was taken 3 days ago by an engineer. It appears to be an alux, adding everything is mystical, which is it? Is it, Andres? Is everything mystical? I love, by the way, this engineer thing tells you this is from the developing world, this person. When a person in developing world tells you this was done by an engineer or this was taken by an, they mean something like engineer is some kind of a angel, it's different category of human. It's an engineer took this, not a normal, this is you distrust engineer work. Jesus Christ.
No, that's definitely true. Don't disagree with you there. But I swear I didn't have this realization or connection until earlier on. I mean, the first time that I read it until earlier on when you put this up in the tease. I swear my life, this photo on the left, I've actually seen it, and it is like a old photo that always go around and is connected to these kind of things. So I think he also stumbled upon like old joke and an old photo from like 10 years ago. I swear I've seen this picture.
It's very possible. Yeah, these things tend to come in cycles. I would say I thought you're gonna say I think that's my cousin Johnny in his hoodie. I recognize Johnny. Jay, what are you doing there? Somebody wearing a hoodie? What are you talking about? Looks. What is this nonsense? Everything is mystical. But Jesus Christ. But yeah, and he's one of the like better leader. He's he's like a left-wing guy that is kind of sympathetic to Trump and stuff.
And also, like, I mean, in this, apparently he he tries to, I don't know how genuinely and how not, but like, care about quote unquote indigenous
I think it's genuine
problems, challenges, and then
he believes in their magical abilities. He believes that they can probably summon alux, summon aluxes to destroy him. He's afraid of them. Guys, you don't know there is a deeper state and it's run by the alux. They are coming for you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. By the way, are there apparently in Mexico they are a significant population, like more than 20%.
Yeah, it's not like the US way more actually. And yeah.
How about Brazil? I'm not familiar, but
Brazil, I don't know. Brazil is much less. I don't even indigenous, much less. Yeah. There's not.
Do you remember when we
less? There's not as many. There's less of a share of Europeans than the U.S. perhaps, right? I mean, no, not Europeans. So Anglo-Saxon Europeans, compared to the U.S., they're much more different. More African people, African descent. I'm pretty sure, and more that who have mixed with the population. Yeah. But yeah, so indigenous, nothing like that. But Mexico, both I remember from when I was there, so many more indigenous people. And like I remember checking on, I shouldn't use that. I remember checking on Wikipedia. Their percentage is actually pretty high. I want to say somewhere near 50%. But yeah, sorry, continue.
I wonder, it reminded me of the George Horne thesis about white settler colonialism and the differences between Protestant and Catholics, and that type of thing. And it's fascinating. I wonder if it's more related to that, or perhaps more related to the diseases and how they were spread. Who knows? It's just Anyways, and then you sent me this fascinating story about Mark Zuckerberg quietly burying the metaverse, which is, I guess, the
I don't even know how true. I don't even know how true it is. It does seem to be true.
It seems that he's doing a sort of a silent or quiet, shall we say, pivot of the Meta was always a chat search engine that is about delivering food.
Man.
So,
but
don't worry about it.
His story just makes me laugh so much in general. His metaverse failure, because from afar, it does really sound like, him getting like, pissed off about something at Facebook and like locking himself in his office for an hour. And then like next thing you know, press release has gone out that, there's metaverse and they're creating metaverse. Like the whole thing seems like, he gave it like 30 minutes of thought and like it's
I
his idea
disagree.
that he was like super stubborn about it. I mean, I
I
don't know, it just
disagree.
feels like that from the beginning. It sounded like it was a project that a lot of people working at Facebook didn't think it'd make any sense, and it never really got going properly. And secondly, there's this always this belief that, someone who comes up with one
Uh,
good thing, they can come up with a lot of other good things or one successful thing, or you can take that success somewhere else. One example is often like, oh, he's a good businessman, make him the president, like that's one example. But there's also like,
okay.
and him, like the Facebook thing, I think he had like a lot of it was, of course, like any other invention, the luck and the time and all this. And then after that, he never did anything that, was interesting or like, some put out something new, except the smartest thing he ever did, which anybody would have probably done, is to buy WhatsApp and Instagram. But yeah, so he just pisses me off as a person, and I found this story funny.
But I
The whole
mean, just to
metaverse
be
thing. But
clear,
going back to the whole
it does
metaverse
feel like
thing.
Kamiar is very jealous. I'm just saying this.
No, I would never be jealous of him, I swear.
No,
No.
not I private island. You wouldn't like a private. So, no,
Not
no.
him, man.
Anyway,
His life
no,
sucks.
him as a person. Yeah, I mean, okay. But I
If
would
out
say
of any
that
billionaire, he'd be my last choice. I would pick any other billionaire to be than him. But yeah.
okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know I said that if you choose an option between billionaires, like, just expanding options. Anyways, I think to be honest, what he did was sort of a last resort, and he kind of could have seen it. I don't see where he can go besides going towards a sort of a virtual
Mm,
monetization thing, sort of thing. So he had no, like I don't feel like it was a stubborn, I'm a genius sort of move. It was sort of a desperate move, I feel. And now another desperate move is to copy this whole chat GPT thingy and
yeah,
go for
so I mean,
artificial intelligence and all that nonsense.
I don't know if something's not thought through and you do it because I think that's kind of the same thing what you're saying, but a bit different, right? I mean, he had to do something he felt and all this, but he went this direction, but he could have gone other direction or done it better or done it in like a more gradual and better way and a more planned way and even improved, maybe came up with a new social media app or changed something about the existing ones. I mean, there are a lot of other things you can do. He chose to do this, and I don't know how well thought through this was. But I understand your point. Like he had to do something. His company, at least Facebook, I would say, had. All right, so yeah, we got caught off there, Sam. But as I was saying, I was saying that I see what you're saying, and I think yeah, he definitely. I would agree that Facebook wasn't going anywhere anymore, and he had to do something. And this seems like one of the routes to take. However, you know, exactly not doing it properly in a way, and this kind of from the outside, it felt like in a very like quick way without giving proper thinking to it. That's kind of what I'm saying about it. But I mean, otherwise, I understand this is direction, but there are a lot of other things, a lot of other directions he could have taken, and perhaps
I
put
don't
out
think
other
so.
products. I mean, or different approaches to something. There's a lot of other things going on. Maybe
Sure,
you should have
different
done the
approaches, but
AI thing. Maybe you should have been on that from
eh,
earlier or something. But yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the whole point.
no, but my point is that to be honest, going to virtual reality, especially at that time, was it like it was the thing to throw your
Yeah,
money at.
exactly.
Now
The
it's
thing to
AI.
throw, yeah, but that's not thought
So it
through. If
wasn't, no,
you
no,
do
but
it,
in the beginning
that's like saying
you said
cryptocurrency was the thing to throw your money out. And exactly, if you threw
sure.
your money out without thinking, that's not thinking things through properly.
Okay, but that's not what you said. You said he
And it's
locked
exactly what
himself
that's
up
what I
in a
meant.
room.
I don't care. Yeah,
Okay, that
exactly.
if you,
Because he was
I'm
mad at
sorry,
his
you have to.
because he was mad at how it's going. He's like, oh yeah, no metaverse. Yeah, we're gonna do everything's gonna be metaverse. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, in
That's
my
him telling.
head, this scenario is more like, what the fuck do I don't know. Let's do meta. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
much
the
more. I
same
don't
thing. Those two are the
know.
same scenarios.
It's one is desperation, one is I don't know. But
Yeah.
my point, like, yeah, I mean, to be honest, yeah, he's stuck in a bad place because I don't see how he can grow his business, and the whole concept depends on the growth, not about managing a successful business. It's about getting new suckers as investors in.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
good
I mean, he
good
can
luck to him
still
and
he
his.
still has Instagram and
Sorry.
WhatsApp. He still has Instagram and WhatsApp relatively
Oh,
thriving
yes, yes,
stuff. So
yes.
once again, he should just find something else and buy it. That seems to be what works best for him.
That's for yeah, to be honest. And talking of, I suppose, billionaires and tech gurus of some kind, it's probably the best place to actually go to this story,
Hmm.
which is Twitter only biased against the right on bad faith? And okay, before I play the bit I wanted to play, do you want to give me your script before? And as far as I know, you haven't seen this. You're telling the truth. I didn't send it to you or anything.
Yeah. I didn't even know it existed.
So,
But I'm
okay.
guessing Briahna is saying that, the way that you guys went through the Twitter files based on, pre-selected keywords mainly and having to go through Twitter, how do you know who was actually fully being censored? You went out for looking for these right-wing ones, and that's what you found. And she maybe also criticized him a bit about, being, taking this from Elon Musk, and how does he feel comfortable with that? I would assume that's that, right? Matt Taibbi come back and say, no, but listen, yes, there was definitely some censorship against the left. I'm not saying that there wasn't at all, but based on me going through it and we were going through it, it was overwhelmingly censorship towards topics that are associated with the right. And then he would talk about how close the relationship was with the government and how just openly, and they wouldn't even hide anything. They emailed, they'd be like, hey, can you censor this guy? Thanks, gotta go for lunch now. And how just it was just so, and so it was just them very easy access, telling people and being really like open and stuff, dumb about it.
All right,
So what did I miss?
70%.
70 versus, oh,
Uh,
I didn't get to
you didn't
revise.
miss it. Yeah. It's
I had
first
time to
draft. This is
study.
first draft. No, actually, to be fair, I think if you had continued your over
Oh,
complex sort of thing, it was mostly about the first part. You said that Brie really gets into the whole, how do you know, how many times could you have searched? And then Matt says, well, I had to be judicial and I couldn't ask as many times as I wanted. And she says, how do you know how many times you could ask? So did somebody tell you how many times you can ask? What's going on? Matt is like, I was, and then they get really into details of that, basically, that how do you know? And
which
and
I
then
agree with Briahna in a way, and we've heard Glenn's
uh,
response, which is you can say that about anything, about any
everything.
piece on journalism, which
I
I think he's taking a
or
bit far, and
anything.
it's not.
No,
It's
man,
it's
come on.
being a bit
No,
too
I'm sorry.
general. It's a bit too
No, man.
generalizing. I would just I would
No.
say there are
She
differences.
is.
Maybe they are not crazy, or maybe they're not as impactful as some would make it out to be, or anything like that, or as important. But I think you can still, point out the
No, I'm
many
sorry.
obvious differences.
There are no obvious differences. There are no
Mm.
differences except
But anyway,
volume. That's the only difference. Tell me one of the differences. Tell me.
no, of the way he's working right now and other kind of
Tell me.
whistleblowing
Well, I know.
for,
Tell me.
yeah. So when you get the information, right, you sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
go and work with ask other sources to confirm it, and you do other things like that. I think it's just different coming from
No, he
the
said
owner
he's
of
done
a
that in this. What
company
do you mean? What are you
who's
talking about? They've done all of that here too. They confirm with other sources. Like they contacted some of the people whose emails have been used, and they say yes, we like send these emails or stuff. So what do you mean?
I
What is
guess
the
fair
difference
enough.
between? I need
So I'm
somebody
trying
to
to
tell
think
me.
what is the difference between that and Edward Snow and like Glenn Greenwald when he got it
I
from
tell
Edward Snowden.
I can let me illuminate because
Tell me,
I'm going
tell
to
me.
destroy your argument, I think. But I think Shibri does not a bad job of putting the best argument forward, and it is ludicrous. So listen to this.
Okay, okay.
It's not, hi, I'm the head of the FBI and here are
Sorry.
some documents. I'm
Is the case. That's
that's
every single news story
that's
that's
always this,
ever been
but
done.
and Glenn said that as well, but here's where I would push back. Normally in a whistleblower case, it's not, hi, I'm the head of the FBI and here are some documents I'm giving over to a journalist. It's, I worked for the FBI, I worked for the NSA, I saw things that I didn't agree with, that disagreed with what higher ups in management wanted me to do, and so I'm
Oh, is
leaking
that
stuff
why?
that they don't want me to leak. Can you do you see that as a very different, as a significantly different posture of someone who's working within an organization who has a difference of interest with the organization, who's telling the public about that, versus someone who's literally in control of the organization, has every interest in profiting from the organization?
She said usually, normally. I just like, do you remember there was a very famous case that is happened in like 70s, perhaps you remember, called Watergate. I don't know if you recall that. Who was the source for that? Who was the source for that? Oh, FBI associated director who would used to like directly meet with fucking Nixon and all that. I mean, I'm so we are living in La La Land now, right? That this is the sources. And Chelsea Manning, you think Chelsea Manning, or I mean, I'm sorry, but you have to
No,
live
I
in a
mean
La La
Chelsea
Land to
Manning was a
think that
very low
sources.
person,
He
but
was a low profile
yeah,
person, but the idea that people are
low
acting out
level.
of their good heart to,
Not good
release
heart. They're
because,
things that
or
they don't
Mark
that
Felt
they
was trying
disagree
to,
with. The
or
things
they
that they
disagree with.
disagree
Okay,
with and want
that's
to
a
put
very
out.
big difference.
I mean, I think, but
So
I
I'm
agree
sorry,
with
but
Bree.
this is
There is
ridiculous.
a
They would
difference,
use,
but it just how important is that difference? And does that mean that one source of information
there
is
is no
therefore
difference.
definitely
I
less biased than the other?
Sure. But how would you calculate the
Yeah,
biases of each
yeah.
individual? Like, I'm sorry, but this is
No,
like you're
fair
putting
enough.
a standards up that no journalistic work, including everything anybody does on the Hill, would live up to. By the way, this is the same nonsense that Matt Taibbi does about in the past journalists used to at night spend worrying about, is it true? Is my art?
Yeah,
What is
no,
this
but I mean,
dream
and I
of
guess
these
or not
pure
having
people who
access
exist?
to all the entire source or
Sorry.
database. I guess you could say another one is not having complete access to the database and there being some more restrictions there on what was
We
given.
should,
But
the whole goddamn history industry should be closed down. I suppose we don't have access to a lot of
yeah, no,
databases.
no, but not like deliberately, it's not like someone doesn't go like, okay, I'm just giving you a third of this book, like in that sense.
From what
I
I
think there are
understand,
some
they were given
differences.
open access
What
to
is that?
research what document they want. So
Well, no, they had to go through Twitter and their keyword and asking people to do it at Twitter for them.
sure, but
yeah,
unless I guess those people are, I mean, lying,
yeah.
they told them
But
we
yeah,
give
it
you full
doesn't
access. I don't know. Yeah.
completely invalidate
It
necessarily
does.
where it comes from, and that's why I don't even say that. I just say that it's a bit different. I still think the context and overall, but I would agree this part that then it's like, okay, what is that? What does that mean? Okay, fine. Even if you accept that it's a bit different in style or
Well,
context or approach, what does that mean?
it's very,
And then
New
the
York
funniest
Times
thing,
now
of
can
course,
make.
though, hold on one
No, that's
second. You
oh,
brought
sorry,
up,
go
you
ahead.
gave an opportunity to make fun of Matt Taibbi too earlier with your comment. And I just want to back you that this is exactly what Matt Taibbi said, as everybody knows, in that clip to Joe Rogan, that he would never do that. And like, that's something that journalists nowadays would do, but he would never,
He
would
didn't
just
say he
take,
would never do
no,
that.
to
He said
take like,
it's
he
very
despises,
unusual for
yeah.
him.
Or he doesn't like that at all, and he thinks
Yeah, he doesn't
no,
like that. Yeah.
doesn't think highly of just taking something from someone powerful, someone handing it over to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that that's, again, I think he's wrong in nostalgizing the past, but what he's doing now is no different than like any other journalist's activities, I think.
Not any other. I mean, this
But
type of journalist activity for sure. Like
oh,
relying
sure,
on a
sure. Yeah,
whistleblower
yeah.
or like, someone contacting you and giving you information.
Sure. And talking of, I suppose, Nixon and Mark Felt, the deep throat, the source for Watergate and all that. This is something that I'm sure you missed. Again, I didn't share it with you.
Yeah, I know. I
But
mean, how would I come across? I mean, how would I come across this?
I don't know. I
How
have
does
no
that?
idea.
I mean, how did it
Maybe
happen to
you
you?
know,
Oh, this channel is
maybe
big. Okay, who? That's his channel. Modern.
no.
Oh,
That's
wait, true. His
That's
name's
the channel
Infrared.
that, yeah, his channel is big too. It's much bigger
Yeah.
than ours for sure. But he's not maybe as big as Modern Day Debate, but they organize the debate between Dr. Ben Burgess and
It's
Infrared, who's
ridiculous.
by the way, I
Oh,
love this is a Iranian style, Turkish style
Mhm.
cushion that in Iran before there was furniture, they would put these on the walls and like for like you would sit and
Yeah.
use them as the back. I don't know why he's put them on the wall. I assume he doesn't know how to use them correctly, like the swords he put there. I mean, I have never seen a man just like he looks like a cartoon character of a sort of a small penis bully in a cartoon. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just constantly shouting and trying to like pretend to be some kind of like, I don't know, manly man or whatever he is. And man, this was, I mean, in terms of hilarity, it is quite funny. And we've criticized Ben Burgess before about the forced vote stuff, but why is he, I don't know, why is he really lowering himself to do this? This was really ridiculous. Like
To reach new
this guy
audiences
is
and
just
people.
sure, but like his audience, this is a cult, man. This is not an audience. This is like reaching a mental asylum. It's
No,
dangerous.
but
They
what
might
about the
attack you.
person's channel? What about Modern Day Debate the
Oh,
channel?
she was a great monitor. She
Oh.
was it's a very American style, or I guess Oxford, Cambridge is similar kind of like, I don't like it at all. It's like debate. You have 5 minutes, you have 5 minutes. And now please put your criticism against the against the arguments, not the people. And and half of the, like 60% of the argument is about definition of class. And in volume 3 chapter 29 Marx said no, it was chapter 16. He said, Jesus
Can you
Christ,
play it?
like
I'm just curious. Like, what did it
oh
sound
sure,
like?
well, it's okay, but I don't think there's much
standards worse. He filled the National Labor Relations Board with hardcore union
let me just
busters.
give you this though. The main argument he argues, these idiots, Infrared, Jackson Hinkle stuff, they argue Trump, Maga-Communism is a good idea. Trump is anti-hegemonic. I don't think they know what hegemony means. So whatever. They say he's an anti-hegemonic figure and we're going to invest in anti-hegemonic sort of ideas. And it's a movement that's bigger than the person of Trump. And then Ben Burgess is arguing, no, it's MAGA movement is a sort of a sycophants of Trump. It's a movement. It's a sort of billionaires.
Yeah.
What does he call it? A billionaires fan club or something. So that's the main sort of ideological argument. And I think they're both, to be honest. I mean, obviously Ben Burgess is much less wrong than this idiot, but I have disagreements with Ben Burgess too. But that's the debate. I might get disconnected. I'm just, oh, no, my VPN has connected.
Oh,
so
no,
I
nice.
can't
Yeah, no, I
play.
just curiously, does he shout the
To make it
infrared
way
guy?
harder
That's really
for
all I want to
ordinary-
hear.
He's not so much shout. He's extremely rude in terms of, he's very interruptive and he keeps, like, I don't know. I really enjoy teasing people, making fun of people, but he makes you, like, I don't want to make fun of people anymore. He's very rude, basically, like not in a fun way. He's just, let me see if I can play him.
Working class people,
he just keeps, I like to
yes.
thank everyone. It was a great debate. I got Dr. Ben Burgess's doctorate now. I put this PhD. It's a very stupid PhD, but it's maybe useful to,
He absolutely was willing to work with people who voted for Trump, which, as I said about
that established unions are counter-hegemonic in any way through the I mean, it's not even true in the post-war period of the history of the United States. What evidence?
That was the one part that was right. That unions, I agree with him there, that are not.
Whether you can see there's a clear contradiction that, yes, the bourgeois hegemony of society.
I'm trying to clarify. It was very ridiculous overall.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, but yeah,
that gave
only,
and your responses, Dr. Ben at Infrared. Another $5 super.
Just, I want to get to 2 minutes of this nonsense. I should have.
To vote for fascism against the workers, but I'm going to propose a fucking bill that is impossible to fucking pass, and he knew it was impossible to pass, alongside that one that Biden wanted to pass. So Bernie was just making a fucking excuse for why he voted for Biden's fascism.
No,
don't fucking sit here and say
Bernie voted against the enforcement of the act, but he also voted for the sick days. So do we.
No, he wanted, in addition, he pushed for it in Congress because he said, alongside this one, we're also going to have another one for guaranteed sick days.
Bernie Sanders in the Senate voted against the enforcement of the act.
The original iteration of the act, Bernie was...
The rail workers, the law that passed that said rail workers are not allowed to go on a strike. At any rate, though, it's when you end up sort of, I guess, defending practicing working politicians, you really like end up in bad places, I think, whether it's Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump. And I would say, the problem with these idiots, by the way, like these people like him, Derek Warren, who I think is probably the most informed person on the left I've been watching. I mean, he goes through the history a lot, but this is like, it's as old as human history. Like, you go to Mesopotamia, that these idiots sort of mistake someone's temporary alignment of interest, sort of Trump having alignment of interest on hating the establishment media, with somebody being anti-hegemonic or being anti-current system of socioeconomics. So it's, and basically, I mean, I have to say, I do have some sympathies for Bonapartism and all that. I don't think it's as stupid as a lot of Marxists make it out to be. But just this Bonapartism of Trump is particularly fucking stupid, I have to say. Even if you're a Bonapartist, go find somebody fucking else. Anyways, but before going to Bernie Sanders in depth, though, very quickly, let me share with you some really stupid news. One is that, did you hear about this whole John Fetterman thing, that he's depressed?
No, I haven't heard from him since he won.
Within like 2 minutes of getting into the goddamn Senate, he was, I'm depressed, I'm going to the doctors now.
Really?
Yeah, he's in the hospital. He was like 2-3 weeks ago. We never had time to discuss it, but he's apparently, and then Tucker Carlson, the scum that he is, kind of did a sort of a really low bar attack on mentioning his wife and all that. It's just, everybody's just great. But I mean, I'm not surprised getting into the Senate gets you depressed, but it takes a while. It doesn't happen immediately. Fuck this. Like, you just had a victory, man. This is like,
maybe the adrenaline dump.
I don't understand why he's depressed.
And also, Senate is the one where you go in 6-year terms, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like
you can at least chill and party for the first 2 years. I wouldn't be worried until like the 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, it's nothing like Congress that like immediately as soon as you get in the re-election campaign starts. Like, like it's just, guys, I got elected to the Congress. I want to start my re-election.
Announce my campaign.
I have 6 hours left. Oh, it's over. It's over. My my congressional seats time is over. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. It's fucking 2 years, man. I genuinely until I think it was during our show 2 years ago, I thought it was 4 years.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It's just unbelievable. Like immediately, okay, I have to go. So you have to run the district. I have to be talking to people. I have some money. I have to give back.
I have to go hug that baby sister now.
That baby I kissed is having a baby now. So you see, like my hands are tight. My hands are tight. But yeah, I mean, it just shows that, to be honest, it's just increasingly Dianne Feinstein, Fetterman. It's just these are not individuals anymore. It's like which movie was it? I think it was that great movie with what's his name?
Bruce Willis?
George's father's. What's George's father's son?
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller. Jerry Stiller's son.
Look
Ben
at
Stiller.
me.
Mystery Man. Yeah, you got it. Well done, man. Mystery. I mean, I knew you know Seinfeld. In Mystery Man.
Guided in the right direction.
That's one thing you know. Mystery Man is a fantastic comedy satire from 90s or was it 2000s? Anyway, in that superheroes are fully, I think it's in that one that superheroes have become fully sponsored by the corporations, and the equivalent of Superman shows up and he's got I don't know, Exxon, Time Warner, all these things on him. And I think genuinely, with Fetterman, Dianne Feinstein, they are no longer a human being. They're literally just a vessel for an organization to smuggle their sort of activities, to me, it seems. Maybe I'm too harsh.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe, yeah. Could you say that about
you seen that with if you read about Turkmenistani dictator, the last one was very much like that it seems like he wasn't, his family was kind of, yeah, everything in the country is great, don't worry about it, everything is fine, let me handle the everyday stuff, you go sleep, buddy, and they go, they were old men, whatever. Anyways, and then January 6th, did you hear about January 6th? Do you want to talk about January 6th cameo? I know you love January 6th.
No, I didn't hear what happened there.
Oh, the Kevin McCarthy gave all the tapes to Tucker Carlson. All the tapes. Including the types from the toilets. But yeah. And now he's playing it on Fox News, and he's basically showing that how serious the so-called coup d'etat was. And it's
really?
Mostly a picture of... Yeah, he's... No, I'm being ironic.
No, but why would he try to make that narrative?
I'm being ironic. He's showing how unserious the thing was. He's showing people just walking around with their phones. So this is the hand of the president. Take a picture now, selfie. Which I completely agree. I completely agree with you and Tucker Carlson's of the word that this was a joke.
Whoa. Don't take... I'm gonna have to cut that out.
Well, I'm putting you and Tucker Carlson in. Yeah, same. Yeah. You're a good point. No, I'm just saying I agree with all of that. That
audience
this was a
canceling.
joke. Yeah, that was my plan. But you were very wise to my plan. I agree. This is all a joke. This is not unless you got some military leader involved. It is not a coup.
However,
yet at the same time, I do believe, where I disagree with a lot of Marxists or socialists, a state is an important structure, and I like it, frankly. Yeah. And if somebody
Marxists don't disagree with that.
Yeah, they do. Depends on the Marxists.
Socialists don't.
Yes. Yeah. Some social depends, I guess.
But how can you? Okay, anyway.
My point is, they would say state is most Marxists would say that a state is just another expression of the ruling class, sort of another.
Yeah, but you don't want it to be apparatus. Like that, no? You want to change that, make an expression of the people, no?
Sure, but it's not. No, people's no. What do you mean expression of people?
Of most people, instead of the majority of the people.
No, I don't think.
No?
What? No,
No.
that's not Marxism. My point, they say that no, you need to get rid of a state and replace it with a more encompassing socialist system, which I would argue you're basically is describing a state, but then they would say
Yeah,
no.
that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, it's a, yeah. My point being that if somebody broke into sort of Iranian parliament like that, I want in case, except the scenario that I am the person that is breaking into the parliament, except that scenario. Sorry, treason is treason. It should be punished. It's like maximum punishment for treason. I don't know how.
I don't know if breaking into a building is treason, though. Yeah, they should be punished for breaking and entering into
governmental building. What do you mean?
It should have exactly whatever punishment that is. Are you sure breaking into governmental building? I thought treason is like turning on your country.
Yeah. I'm saying,
but that's not treason.
In my view, in attacking public buildings is treason, as far as I can. In my view, it would be like that's it. Then again, though, I would say I am very much like I would support. That's the thing. It's just so stupid. If it was actually serious, I would have more sympathy with them. It's just so stupid. I kind of want them to be just, man, serious. Like IRA actually had a plan. These motherfuckers, they just wanted to take pictures. I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't understand this. Like, Tucker Carlson, somebody who's, whenever it comes to national security and Muslims,
no, that's fair.
It's all important. But they were just taking pictures. They were just walking around the governmental building.
Yeah, well, whatever the crime is for that.
They're not hanged by their fucking balls. I miss the days CIA used to be. Anyway. And guess before moving on, and since we mentioned Brie and all that, what do you think is the sort of the fringe left is doing on their own? Like the Vanguard
on their own.
On their own, like playing around with their toys and all. What do you think they're up to?
I clicked on a Vanguard video a day or two ago, but I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, no, I watched it. Sorry, a week. That was literally a week ago when I saw their video of them talking about Robbie, and Brie, over the child labor thing.
Shit,
yeah,
forgot about that.
That was a long time.
Where Robbie's like, yeah, child labor, that's fine. Yeah.
Man,
they're working in mines.
Libertarians' biggest joke I've ever heard in my life. I've never heard a bigger
libertarians
joke.
It's such a good idea until you meet like a real world or something. Why can't everybody just, there is no state, we all do as we need, and it's local community coming together and sacrificing a small child to God. What's wrong with that? Local community sacrificing a little child to a sort of a god of agriculture.
If the parents want it, who are we? if the parents allow it. In their parenting.
Should he be flayed or should we sort of cut him up into little pieces? I
honestly,
don't think it's up to us.
I swear it is like the most ridiculous idea across all kind of ideas I've ever heard.
Well, if you ask Noam Chomsky, though, it's for most of human history, it was working.
No.
No, okay. He says he has empirical evidence.
That's not true. They were not libertarians.
Hunter and gatherers were anarcho-syndicalist libertarians, okay? Okay, you might not believe it, but
go listen to their podcast. They talk about it.
The equivalent of podcast was cave paintings. You can look at the cave paintings. As you can see, it wasn't. You could say they were chasing that cow all together. That's a sign of if that's not a sign of equality, I don't know what is. But they are trying, man. It's so funny. The Vanguard boys are really trying hard to make Marianne. I think Marianne Williamson may have paid them some money or adopted them into a cult or something. They're just defending Marianne from RBN assholes, from David Pacman idiots, just from everybody. Just no, man, don't bitch Marianne can do it. And good luck to them. I would say I think Marianne is much more competent than Bernie Sanders, and much less of a leftist, but much more competent. She has a successful like book career. She's
Bernie
successfully
Sanders is a
scammed
successful
right-wingers
politician.
at age 93.
Book writer. Listen, you make it when you make it.
He's the
No, he's
turtle
been
in the
successful
turtle
his
and the
whole
hare.
life. He was a mayor at the age of like
Yeah,
10.
sure. Okay, okay, you're
I
right.
want
But Marianne
equal
was,
treats for
Marianne,
everyone at school. Equal snacks. One kid comes in with a Fruit Loop, the other one has an apple.
Marianne-
How is that just?
and Marianne was like fooling like
charlatan.
Southern housewives on mass scale in 1980s. Like I mean, you could say I guess Bernie was active in Vermont area.
Have you not seen that video
Oh.
of him defending the postal
With the
office
child?
at the age of 19?
No,
A young
I'm just
Bernie
saying
returning from his shift
has-
at McDonald's.
I
Yeah,
feel
no,
like
she
he
has
more of a
scammed
killer
people
instinct.
for
Yeah, that's the
for
thing. She
a
has even more
long history,
interest.
track record of, I don't know, spirits and all this. And yeah,
And you know, yeah, I hope the whole, I don't know, use the forces of crystal, Marianne. Use the forces of crystal.
but
Summon
yeah,
the
I hope
powers.
she makes.
Oh,
She would definitely make this next election, add some added fun if
More
she can
fun?
come in and
yeah,
mix
but man, the
things up.
Vanguard boys, they take this
Imagine,
whole thing so
but
seriously.
imagine the Vanguard boys. Okay, now
He
this
should become
could
her
be a
press.
long term.
Oh my
no,
God.
this could be a long term game to play, because even if she has a semi decent run somehow, does well in the primary or something, and at that point comes on their show a little
I
bit.
see what.
That's a good 5 to 10, 15,000 subscribers, not more. I would
That's-
not get too excited, but
I would not
no,
get too excited.
no, honestly, that
A
could.
little bit excited.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a long. It could pay off,
No, man, I am more hopeful than you, because who is the people who Marianne could potentially be targeting? I think middle to like older aged women,
Yeah.
right? Look at
That's a
these
lot of
two
them.
beautiful
Oh,
boys. These beautiful boys. Like they gonna
Zach
see these
would
two
be
boys and they're
popular
gonna
for sure.
Oh, Zach would be. Yeah, there would
He
be-
could
there
finally
would
quit
be-
his bar job. He could
There
finally
would-
sit
There
back.
will be there will be a horde of 60-year-old divorcee women just moving to Kansas for Zach.
No, they're gonna take him to Hollywood.
Yes. Or yeah, maybe. Yeah, one of them would sponsor him to move to Hollywood or something.
Yeah,
So
to LA.
it could work out great, I think, and we hope it does. But yeah, that's what they're. Are you familiar with Taylor Kitsch? Let me. Are you? He's an actor. This guy.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, you've seen his face. But Marianne, I have to say, with all her abilities, does remind me of him. I don't know if if you are familiar with his career, but he was great on TV. Friday night. What was it? Friday Night Lights. But then Hollywood and producers in Hollywood, I think, because I assume half of the Hollywood had a crush on him, the producers, because they tried so hard, man. They tried so hard to make him a leading man. They put him in John Carter. They put him in Battlefield. They put him in another one of those shitty action big movies, I forget. And he was Gambit, I just remembered, for one X-Men movie. And it just didn't happen. Really bad luck, to be fair to him. He had such bad luck, man. He did True Detective as a way to sort of reestablish himself. And then he did that True Detective season that everybody hated. Just really bad luck. So I feel like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if the Vanguard boys, I hope they're more successful than Hollywood was with Taylor Kitsch. I hope you make it happen. Make Marianne happen, guys. We are all hopeful about it.
Alrighty, Sam. Alrighty. Let's continue with the show. And yeah, the Bernie Sanders book tour, and again him being in the news. Yeah, I've heard 2 or 3 of the stories around it, but definitely not everything that you have here.
Oh, well, there's not much. He's
Yeah.
flinging his book. And he first he appeared on Bill Maher, in which people can check it out. They changed the title. I couldn't find the video, so they had a fantastic video in which Bathsheba Sargon of Akkad talked about the dependent poor, which is, as you know, is opposed to the financially independent poor who are getting money somehow. Anyways, it was like, the only thing you can say about Sanders is that he's much better than his opponents. But Glenn, as you can see, is very upset about the fact that he is still not opposing the Ukraine war. In fact, he's very much supporting it or paying very little attention to it. So he's kind of taking the sort of sorry, go ahead.
I mean, he's on brand foreign policy. He's never ever commented. It's not his thing. And even back then, when everybody really liked him and encouraged him, even back then he wasn't talking anything about foreign policy.
Well, I think people who saw his outspokenness about Iraq and Afghanistan, including myself, who weren't familiar with his takes on Yugoslavia, were a bit surprised. But but
so maybe I've missed it. But
no, I'm just saying it. Anyways.
But I mean, just his recent campaigns and stuff. The foreign policy wasn't a big part of them.
Oh, sure. No, you're right. 100% there. 100%. I would say that I find this was the most fascinating thing I always find is that if you listen to Chapa Trap House guys, a lot of other people, the way they talk about British Labour Party or European left, just they are so much better than us. They're so much. I mean, Chapa Trap House are good, are much better than most everybody else. Like you listen to most American leftists, Labour in UK so much more powerful in Europe. Blah blah blah. You listen to Novara Media, people like that. They are in love. Like everybody's in love with the leftist of a different country.
Who do they like?
I always found fact. Bernie Sanders, and now they made like 60 different videos about how Bernie Sanders tells the truth about Jeremy Corbyn. Bernie Sanders destroys Sky News. Sky News in UK sort of functions similar to Fox News, not quite, but you can see it here.
I mean, that's just a typical case of always thinking the grass is greener on the other side.
Oh yes, but. Talking of, and Bernie Sanders did in a very interview, as I agree with Glenn more, that he describes this as a sort of a half-hearted sort of a defense of Jeremy Corbyn and his expulsion from the party. But talking of incompetency, have you ever seen this man? This is an insult from a very famous book in Iran, and this man truly deserves, in my view, the title of a statue of incompetency. I'm talking about Jeremy Corbyn. Is there a man more incompetent, more just frankly useless than this man? This was a man who headed the largest socialist party in Europe, 500,000 members.
Yeah.
And within 5 years, less than 5 years, what turned to his movement? Ashes would be describing it, generously at this point.
So this is coming from someone who really likes him or used to like him or whatever, but your point is that, he's just rolling over so easily.
I love his politics, or I love not his politics, I suppose I love his ideas, or I love his whatever vision, dream. But frankly, as a sort of a statesman, as a politician, he's the most competent. Because let's take a look at some of the people that have crushed this man into nothingness. Where is this guy? This is the wing of the Labour Party. Before going to Conservative, this motherfucker, Paul Mason, a loser, who one of these, fucking Trotskyites that turned sort of liberal internationalist, basically. He's basically a very, very pathetic version of Christopher Hitchens, just a slower and more ideologically bankrupt version. And he was vying with Eddie Izzard, another comedian who has gone, he's degenerated into some idiotic politician. At any rate, this group, him and Keir Starmer, just take Keir Starmer, and I have a video to play from Keir Starmer. Actually, let me, not right now. I wanted to play this video from Keir Starmer, just so it's clear who this man, Jeremy Corbyn, put in his cabinet, and who then would go on to crush Jeremy Corbyn like he's nothing. So let's watch this video from Jeremy Corbyn's opposition within the Labour Party. So I'm just checking if I have shared this sound. Yes, I have.
Harry, see if you're convinced.
When did you first approach Sue Gray to be your chief of staff?
Nick, I know her personally. I met her when I was Director of Public Prosecution. She was obviously a senior civil servant. I met a number of them. I was really, really impressed with her. So I've known her personally since then. She's not a friend. I don't mix with her. I'm not in the same social circles or anything like that. I know her personally in the sense that if I saw her at a reception or something, I would go over and have a discussion with her. But as I say, I actually haven't had a discussion with her during the entire time she was doing her report.
Might I ask when you first approached her to be your chief of staff?
I've been on the lookout for a chief of staff for a little while now. I'm very clear what I wanted in that. And obviously, Sue will set out that, but nothing improper at all. I've been on the lookout for a chief of staff. I'm really pleased that people of her calibre are interested in that. But,
So when did you approach, can I ask when you approached Sue?
Look,
if I may call her, Sue?
I've been looking for a chief of staff for a number of weeks now.
I think October 2022, Sam White left you, if I've got
Well,
that
that's when I lost, when Sam White moved on. At that stage, the first task I had for myself was being clear in my own mind what I wanted from a chief of staff, because I was beginning to think about how to
I will try again, and obviously you don't have to answer, but when did you first contact Sue Gray about the possibility of becoming your chief of staff?
Well, Nick, that's going to be laid out by Sue. She's got to do that as part of a leaving procedure. But there's nothing improper at all.
But you can't tell me that.
Nick, nothing improper at all.
No, but you can't tell me when you first approached her.
I've been looking for a chief of staff for a little while now, but Sue will lay that out.
Why won't you tell me, Sakir?
There's nothing improper at all.
No. I'm just unsure why you won't tell me when you first made contact with her.
I'm not going to go through lots of barrel, but there's nothing improper. It's not unusual.
But if it's not improper, I'm sorry to interrupt. If it's not improper, why won't you say, it was a month ago, Nick, or it was 6 weeks ago, Nick, or it was on New Year's Day?
It was. I've been looking for some time, and there's nothing improper in the slightest.
How many times can someone refuse to answer a question?
I don't know why, but it sounds like he's trying to find, I don't know, like a housekeeper or something. I don't know. When did you... I've been trying to find a nanny. When did you make contact with her?
Look, I've been trying to find a babysitter for years, but nobody would take it.
Or like a dealer or something. I don't know. It sounds like it's just going around desperately.
Yes, the most like criminal. This was the head of public prosecutions at some point, I believe, or he was a prosecutor. So I don't know what the fuck is going on, man. I seriously don't understand, but the answer was the most incriminating answer I've ever this reminds me exactly of my nephew. Whenever you ask him, why haven't you cleaned the room? Look, I've been trying to clean the room for a while, but the toys and then there was the video game, and then my mom called and I was doing that, and so it was and this crushed Jeremy Corbyn like a fly, like crushed him. Used him as a ladder to get into the cabinet, then became the leader using his base by saying some left-wing stuff. And now he's kicked out and his base is being slowly liquidated from the party. So I have to give it to him. Well done. But now this motherfucker Look at some of the people who are conservatives, some of the people who are defeating them. You're familiar with Matt Hancock, right? Right?
Of course.
Yeah, you remember how he got fired with kissing, falling in love with the lady, and then he was the head of the Ministry of Health during the lockdowns, and he broke them, and then
I mean, I always get confused between there was a period where there were like a lot of characters
Hancock.
like him, in British media with like all of them having the same stories,
Boris,
like
good
all
old
of
Boris.
them like
And by the way,
doing
this
the
is where
exact
it's gonna
same
end
things
with Boris.
So like, yeah, I know one of those stories, and guys,
Well, he's still going through, his comeback.
And he's a Newcastle fan, huh?
If you've been a Newcastle fan, we've waited years for this. We haven't been to Wembley for years. This is the most exciting thing that happened since Kevin Keegan. Bring it on.
So exciting. I'm genuinely excited about football, and this isn't me trying to seem relatable to ordinary people in any way whatsoever. Very odd video. It gets weirder, though. As the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed, Hancock was wearing a signed Newcastle shirt. You can see that signature there next to the Newcastle badge. There's a problem, though, because the shirt he's wearing in that TikTok video looks a lot like the signed Newcastle shirt Hancock was supposed to have sold off in a charity auction 3 years earlier. So you can see here a story from a newspaper at the time. It says, Matt Hancock auctions Pride and Joy Newcastle United shirt to raise cash for NHS scrubs. And you can see there a picture of him proudly holding up that signed Newcastle shirt. I'm going to read you some of that article because it's fairly entertaining. On Friday, radio DJ Chris Evans held an online auction to raise money for Scrubs Glorious Scrubs, a voluntary sewing collaborative making non-surgical scrubs for NHS workers. Celebrities including Anton Deck and Rod Stewart took part, donating personal items for fans to bid on. The auction, run by Bin In Auctions, which is helping charities with fundraising during COVID-19, raised almost £600,000 for the cause, and Mr. Hancock, Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, decided to join in, offering up his own much-loved piece of Newcastle United memorabilia. The minister, who holds overall financial control of the health service and oversight of all NHS delivery, has helped raise a total of £1,850 through the online sale of the shirt. They go on to write, in the description of the lot, Mr. Hancock called the shirt my pride and joy. He said, quote, this shirt was gifted to me by Uncle Dave. It was because of him that I am now a lifelong supporter and fan of Newcastle United. Signed by the team, the top is seen hanging behind me on the bookshelf during many of my Skype interviews. I will sign it for you also, if you like. And then the Evening Chronicle write, it's not known if the winning bidder took Mr. Hancock up on his offer to add his own signature to those of the Newcastle players. So what explains...
do you have any signed shirts, and have you given them up for charity?
No, but at one point it did have a lot of extra Arsenal jerseys, so I gave a few away. But I love that. Why would they want his signature next to the player's signature on the Newcastle jersey? But Jesus,
health secretary. No. All right, fine. And better than Matt Hancock is Matt Hancock's lawyer. This is probably the best clip on any media. Like, you have to watch this. Oh, you've seen this?
No. Jeez, I mean, no. But he looks like he'll be Matt Hancock's lawyer. Yeah.
No. This is the good guy. This is the fantastic.
Joining me to discuss this is none other than media and crisis PR lawyer Jonathan Code, who was actually...
I'd just like to clarify before playing the video. This is a media PR sort of communication expert professional. Gets paid for this.
Recently asked to act for Matt Hancock. Thank you for joining me.
Yes, I have to say that's disappointing, because I made it absolutely clear to your programme. I asked them not to disclose that. And that is very, very poor journalism.
Okay, well, it seems like, are you okay to carry on, or is that the kind of thing that means you don't want to carry on?
No,
I can apologise for having that in the...
I'll go on, because I disagree with what a lot of you say, but you've stood there in front of a baying audience, throwing poo left, right and centre at Matt Hancock. when your own television station has engaged in correspondence with me where I explained that one, I'm in a position to be able to comment on this, and mentioned that I'd been approached by Matt Hancock. I asked you not to mention that.
Well, I
and you
apologise that
mentioned
we've.
it. So
I apologise that we've mentioned it.
Anybody's tempted to take you seriously or your program seriously, here is a good reason not to.
In this moment, I can apologise for including that information. I've just been given the actual email that you sent to my producer, which they'd like me to read out. As a courtesy to the lady who approached me to act for MH, Matt Hancock, I would be grateful if it was mentioned that he asked me to act for him. So it seems that you actually...
You're absolutely right that it's my mistake I missed out the knot. I take all of that back. My abject apologies. You're right and I'm wrong. No, fair dues. I'm absolutely wrong about that. My apologies.
That was Jonathan Cohn, a crisis and PR manager.
Crisis and PR manager. He forgot the knot in the email. And did you see
how can you write it? How can you write it? How can it be like so ambiguous what you're saying? That just leaving out one word, the word not.
It wasn't ambiguous. It was actually very clear. But not do that becomes do
this
that.
Guy was too clear.
The knot. Yeah, it was too clear. But it was the pissiness in the you're unprofessional, you're blah blah, and fair dues, man.
And I mean, he should know better than that. You have to say off the record, and that's if you're giving information. If something's already out there, asking for favors. They're not gonna do that. They're a news channel. On top of that, he asked the opposite anyway.
Yeah, he explicitly asked them to disclose that information. He was, it was. I mean, it was.
But it's just really funny that from the rest of the message, the email was just, I guess, so clear that there was no like follow-up sentence or something that would, make you doubt. Wait, does this guy want me to say it or not say it? It was just like. Because this sentence doesn't add up with the next statement, with the next sentence, but no. I guess he was just so
stupid. But anyway, I just wanted to say though, we need these people back, man. We need Matt Hancock. We need Boris back. I mean, this is ridiculous. The UK politics is becoming so boring.
Send someone a text. Please bang my wife. Oh, what? Oh, you didn't put don't. Oh, fuck. My bad. Don't bang my wife. Don't bang. But now it's truly no. I apologize now. You know what? Do it again. Now that it's my fault.
I raised this child that you put into my wife. Fair dues, I have to raise her. I texted you. You should fuck my wife. Fair dues. I'll put her through college. Fair dues. Oh man,
my god,
fucking idiot! And these people destroyed Starmer, and I mean, you don't know actually. A Starmer, to be fair to a Starmer, which is something I'm not inclined to be, he hasn't had a sort of election as a leader. We'll see. We'll see if they crush him like they did to Mr. Corbyn over here. And now. Let's go to Iran, shall we?
Yep, sounds.
And I don't know if you choose. Do you prefer if I start from the more of a news stuff or more sort of a philosophy stuff?
As whatever you prefer.
All right, let's go to the news thing because it's shorter, and then we take a break. So people may have heard there has been a series of poisoning in Iran, basically chemical poisoning attacks in mostly in girls.
That one? Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, schoolgirls primary school, and it's been going on for the last 2 months, 3 months. More than 130 schools have been targeted now. It happens like every other day. You hear like 5 more schools were attacked with a chemical sort of a poison gas type thing. It's truly awful.
But wait, it's like I thought like there was water poisoning or something, but it's like actual like physical attacks.
Yeah, it's physical chemical attacks. Yeah, it's
But like how? Like a person comes and does it?
like a that's with details. Yeah, it's sort of like somebody. It seems like somebody drops the gas into the yard or into the classrooms, into the buildings. Let me see if I can find some of the
Oh
videos.
yeah, I thought it was like some kind of, like, yeah.
And I mean, no, it's ridiculous. As you can let me see if I can find a video of the events. But at any rate, yeah, the videos are quite upsetting. And by the way, this video, this is not related to that. Anyways, there are rumors that they're gonna start attacking the metro stations and sort of.
But like, who are these? Like, what are like?
We'll get to that. Let me just explain the situation first, though. That it's as you can. There have been numerous attacks in all major cities. In the cities that have suffered most attacks are Tehran, and parents are protesting. Parents' protest was met with, police brutality. Some say, I am inclined to believe it. Oh, here, in this map, you see all the cities targeted in Iran. And if you're familiar a little bit with geography here in Iran, east of Iran is basically, there is no cities like there. And so, these are places with most populace. No girl, as far as I know, have passed away. There was one boys' school that was attacked as well, by the way. The government authorities in the beginning first denied the attacks 2 months, 3 months ago for a month, when it became sort of widespread. And it started in Qom. And again, if anybody's familiar with Iran, Qom is the seat of religious authorities in Iran. It's not necessarily the most religious city. It is one of the most religious cities, but it's the seat of the religious authorities. And the religious schools are the most famous and the most prominent are there. And the attacks started in Qom primary schools of girls. And the attacks, after denying it, one of the clerics in Qom, one of sort of high-ranking cleric, came out and said these attacks are done by millennialist groups, and I can never pronounce that word. Millennialist, like Nazis kind of groups they believe in 1,000-year sort of apocalyptic groups. They believe in 1,000-year sort of a history. It's very common in Iran. It's actually kind of comes from Iran. One of our fantastic contributions to history. It's just like every 1,000 years there is a leader and he will put you to a next stage of humanity. Bullshit. But these seem to be Islamic millennialist type things, apocalyptic things that seem to believe that girls should only be educated until the age 9, because that's the age according to basically until the age where they reach womanhood, as they say, because that's according to Islam is when they like in Islam, if you read the Quran and the fiqh, which is the Sharia law, whatever, usually the consensus is a woman is of a marriable age after they reach womanhood, and so that's their logic, it seems. The attacks are, obviously, as any attack that targets children, even though they might not, like, more people die from car accidents, blah blah blah, are very, like, they cause a lot of tension within the society. The Western media obviously doesn't help by sort of fanning the flames and creating a atmosphere of chaos, but the government's incompetency and lack of understanding is the key to the situation, sort of, in my view, escalating. As you can see, teachers have also in 20 cities come out against the lack of security for the people. The Iranian government so far have taken some action, one of them being arresting the head of the newspaper that published the news about the schools being attacked in Qom. So as always, you go target the whistleblowers and people who talk about the issue. You don't solve the issue. That's the I mean, they said they have arrested some people, but it's not clear who or how.
Yeah.
Now, as to who is behind the attacks,
yeah.
I feel.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, you put
No,
a
not
picture.
him, actually. Yeah, I
on
did
his
seem
trips
to
to
suggest
Iran,
it's him,
he
but
also
no,
carries out some
he
activities
did.
on the weekends.
Let me. I have talked about him. He's the father-in-law of our president right now. Alam al-Huda is the head of one of the probably the foundation with the largest revenue in Iran. He's also known as Evil Santa Claus in certain circles due to his fantastic looks. And he's the father-in-law of our current president. He's the Imam Jomeh Friday prayer leader of Mashhad. And East Mashhad, Khorasan region is the home to the most sort of conservative reactionary Iranian forces. It's always been. And it seems to me, and some have, this is my speculation, by the way, they're like, nobody knows. Look, the regime is at a crossroad with this whole hijab thing. And to sort of perhaps paraphrase a very much more famous line, a spring is coming. A spring is coming, and when a spring comes, people's clothing in Iran will change dramatically as the heat will set in. You know, so far the whole hijab issue has happened in winter, and that's been a significant mediator of things. You know, in summer, I mean, already you go to shopping malls and tensions are rising with girls showing their bellies, and you know, police officers are increasing around the shopping centers. So spring is coming, and the government sort of is signaled so far that we're gonna basically let the hijab thing go for now. It's okay, let them wear as they like. Forces of reaction, I believe, headed by Alam al-Huda, are showing force now. You know, attacking 130 schools within 2 months is a systematic attack. These are not some disgruntled bad apples within, you know, some Islamic society. This is said by one of the members of the Security Committee of the Parliament. Not that I would trust anything a member of a parliament would say, but the fact that he's openly saying that it was a systematic attack, to me shows that there is a big war at the very height of the regime among what I call Mashhadi or Khorasan sort of reactionaries and Tehrani people, basically the old sort of the regime that they're not so much like, they don't depend on international American trade so much, but they depend on Chinese connections, they depend on Russian connections, they frankly they benefit, like they have economic interest in Iranian alcohol smuggling. Iranian alcohol smuggling does not happen on its own. There are high-ranking members of the regime who are involved, of course. So therefore, I think this is a battle. You know, this whole hijab thing is allowing different factions to battle for the future of the regime. You know, it's become a sort of a wedge, you know, it's a wedge issue right now between them, and they can settle their economic, you know, that's the thing about cultural issues. It gives to the people who have economic interest, it gives them tools to mobilize people. So I think that's what happened. They are mobilizing against each other. And as always, children and the most innocent will get, you know, hurt. But I think I would imagine Supreme Leader, and Supreme Leader finally 2 days ago came out and has called for the maximum punishment for these people, which means that basically they're going to get the death penalty, if not worse, like lashes before death penalty, which I think if they get the right person, which I'm not sure they will, would have been a, you know, apt punishment. However, we'll see if they manage to control them or not. It's kind of tragic, not quite, still not that many people have passed away, thankfully, so, you know. And on the do you have any ideas about my analysis?
No,
Do you
I mean,
think
it sounded, I mean, it made a lot of sense, and I like your last explanation too about, you know, how you can use cultural issues in order to pursue your economic objectives when two sets of elites go against each other, I guess, or different sets of elites.
Whenever a regime is reforming, there will be those with discontent.
Yeah.
And if you're smart enough, you can mobilize those discontents for your own purposes. You know, it's not, you know, it's, I mean, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? Anyways, but on like more geopolitical news, Rafael Grossi, the head of IAEA, came to Iran, had a meeting, and he said we have a new deal. The price of dollar somewhat stabilized. I think it's a red herring. I think they're just, it's just
100%.
Yeah, bullshit, but whatever. On a very sad news though, do you remember Piruz?
Yeah.
Piruz passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, he had a kidney problem and he passed away. And it's quite, I mean, it's not clear that if he was sort of, they could have saved him or not, because when he had the kidney, when he developed the kidney problem, he had one dialysis device for this animal in country, not one in the country. And by the way, the hospital they took him is very near my house. And as you know, I was recently for something personal, I was there. And, you know, it's whatever. It's very sad, but you know, they have genetic problems too and all that because they are very few and all that. So, but he passed away. Hopefully the future Panthers will be, he's one of, like, I think there is only like about 70 of their kind left in Iran, and that's it in the whole world. So yeah, I'm very sad.
So shoot. Scroll down a bit to the side of this. Zoom out, sorry, a bit. Scroll down a bit. Scroll down. Okay. Do you know who that shirtless football player is?
Oh, no.
I'll give you a hint. It's someone your nephew knows, but he was shocked that you didn't know.
Oh, Mohammed Salah Mohammed, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Egyptian guy or there's French
Egyptian.
guy?
Egyptian.
What was his name? Mohammed Salah? Am I saying it right?
They call him Mo Salah. He goes by, Mo.
Mo
but
Salah.
religious.
Nice.
But he's religious. But he still goes by Mo.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, they don't have that problem. A lot of they use
Mo is a very common short sentence version of Muhammad. In Farsi, it's mostly Mehmet, not Mo. I've heard Mo. But anyways, this was more sort of a news thing because I thought probably nobody else would talk about it in English. Now perhaps it's the time to take a good break and end with some philosophy bullshit.
Oh. Alrighty, Sam. We're back.
Sorry. Yes. So in about a week ago, Jawad Tabatabai, or Sayyid Jawad Tabatabai to be more exact, he's actually his background, I was going to say his background is very similar to mine, which it is, but much more it's even more similar to yours. But
his last name is so familiar.
Tabatabai is a very common family name.
What does it mean?
Tabatabai, well, it means from Tabatabai is sort of double, it's got a deep meaning. Tabatabai family or Sayyid Tabatabai means that both sides of your family are descendant from Prophet Muhammad or descendants of him.
Double.
But yeah, so if you are both sides of your family are descendant of Muhammad, you become Tabatabai. But Tabatabai is also a family name that's used, independently from that title. You see?
Yeah.
What I'm saying.
Okay.
It's a name of a university. Many famous people in Iran are called Tabatabai from the past because their parent, like the famous people of Iran, many of them were claimed to be descendants from Muhammad. And the claim bit is very crucial because like the more authentic ones, and those are even bullshit, have a sort of a family tree, like, But that's even like, don't believe people's family trees. Like famously, the dynasty that ruled Iran forged their family tree. So it's complete bullshit. Anyway, anyway, he was a very famous Iranian philosopher and a social theorist, we could argue. I am frankly hugely indebted to his thoughts in my own work, and he's probably my favorite sort of Iranian thinker of modern times. He was just like us, of Azeri Iranian background. He was unlike us. His first language was Azeri, but he was also versed in other languages. And he was famously, he was a student of a very famous Marxist, Althusser, who you might be familiar with a bit, right? Just heard the name once.
Say it again. Officer?
Althusser. French, Althusser. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. He's very famous. He's much more famous than, for example, Deleuze and stuff. No?
No.
The structuralist.
Oh, Luis. No.
Louis! That's Althusser. I'm very, again, you have, that's the thing though, you have, like, I would say philosophically and methodologically, I am very close to Althusser and Tabatabai, not so much perhaps in politics. But anyways, his passing coincided with an interesting development in Iran. Iranian opposition, as people who watch our show perhaps know, or people who follow the recent protest in Iran knows, is largely abroad, headed by celebrities, or former prince, former newspaper, sort of a staff writer, that type of thing. One of the more prominent ones is Golshifteh Farahani, who's a very famous Iranian actress who has gone abroad and has done a lot of movies with a lot of famous people, very accomplished actress nonetheless. She met with Bernard Henry Levy or Levi. I don't know how you pronounce that in French.
Yeah, it's a weird one actually. I don't know Levy. I don't know actually.
It's a Jewish family name from what I understand, but I don't know if it's Levi, whatever. He's I don't know if you are familiar with him now. He's a bit perhaps.
Yeah, him, yes. Him I've heard perhaps, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
Oh, well, he's a very interesting figure. He could have become one of these fucking sort of Trumpy, Marie Le Pen supporters, but he ended up going the way of, I'm going to defend a neoliberal sort of a state. And he was a close friend of Sarkozy. He might still be. He was an envoy of Chirac at some point to some Muslim countries. He was but long before that, he was also just like Javad Tabatabai, and that's why history has a strange way of working. It was very strange that the same week he died and he was in the news in Iran, Bernard Levy was also in the news. They were both students of Althusser. And Bernard Levy famously breaks with Marxism and Althusser, and he becomes one of these people who criticize sort of left for everything and becoming the new dogma and Stalinism and blah, blah, blah. It's just very simplistic sort of understanding of history. But let me read this really good article about Bernard Levy, among others, starts this school called New Philosophers. This new school of thought in France. But I think this article sums up what this school is really about. Aside from the shamelessness of their opportunism, there is little that is noteworthy in the writing of the Nouveau Philosophies. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. However, they are important here for two reasons. First, because they represent the French variant of an international phenomenon, the neo-conservative intellectual movement known as the New Right. And second, because their ideas and those of the New Right generally reflect a symbiotic relationship with those of postmodern left, a relationship rarely acknowledged yet absolutely fundamental to any understanding of the contemporary melee of social theory. To illuminate the elective affinity that unites the new right and the postmodern left, it is therefore useful to examine the French case, the relationship between the new philosophy and postmodern dissidents, Gilles Deleuze and Michel Foucault, from whom the new philosophers parasitically derive the rhetoric of power and the substance of their critique of science. I begin with a brief introduction of Deleuze because his neo-Nietzschean Gauchisme most accurately reflected the characteristics of postmodern dissidents, and because he provides the philosophical foundation for certain of Foucault's historical investigations. So I think in this article, he correctly points out that this new right philosophy, sort of moving beyond Althusser's structuralism, feeds off sort of this postmodernist questioning of the lack of meaning, which kind of, I think, ties him kind of well with Jordan Peterson types, you know, the idea that, okay, if also everything, so you're saying truth is relative, so everything is relative, everything becomes a question. And but I like to point out that I did find this article by Deleuze himself, it's an interview Deleuze does, in which he criticizes heavily the new philosophers. And I had the translated version, now it's the French version. Yeah, he criticizes them, but he, I think, correctly points out that they are talking nonsense. For it points out that how the terms they use does not have a specific definition. Now, I was worried, to be honest, because a lot of people talk about Sayyid Jawad Dawotawi becoming a reactionary, but I was glad to see just before his passing, no, he wrote an article talking about the miracles of Bernard Levy, in which he goes through his stupid, frankly, career, which, by the way, includes one of the best bits ever. I'll talk about that later. Anyway, Jawad Tabatabai points out that Iranian opposition shouldn't, in their stupidity, turn to people like Bernard Levi and that type of thing. And I think Golshifteh is a really fascinating case because her father is also a very famous actor in Iran, really legendary actor, and her sister as well, by the way. And her father is a very famous actor who was a Marxist. So it's just this tradition of Marxists moving towards reactionary. It's a fascinating one, from Levi to Golshifteh Farhani, sort of. And, you know, and I disagree. I don't think, sadly, I don't think Tabatabai was one of them.
That's good.
Gladly, not sadly.
Amen.
Yeah. And in fact, he warns about them. He's a truly fantastic philosopher, by the way, in my view. He comes from the sort of opposite school of Iranian nationalism to the one I talked about, the one in east of Iran. He's an Azeri. So his idea of nationalism in Iran is much more inclusive. For example, for many years, he fought against what they call de-Arabization of Persian, which you might know what it is. The Arabization of Persian is like they're trying to come up with these words. It's very much similar to a movement in UK in 1960s and 50s when they started to de-Latin. They tried to take Latin away from English, find like English Germanic words to replace the Latin words. And he's fought against that while fighting against sort of Islamic Republic and Islamic sort of extremism. It was very anti-Islam. And I like to add, just to give a bit of show off for myself, I did happen to meet him, and he was great.
Oh, really?
And I did, I think I managed to slightly impress him. He was happy with me.
Or did you push him over the line?
No, I went further. We were in a meeting with. Oh, no. This was 4 or 5 years ago. He was in California.
That's when his health started going downhill. Sorry.
Fuck you. No. We were in a meeting with at the time, the reformists had won the parliament in Iran. And the reformists were in a very jubilant mood that this parliament and this presidency, it's going to be different. It was like complete opposite of the current mood. And me and him were among the people who, I mean, I would say the party was a mixed party. So it was like many
men
people
and women
share their position. Oh, that too. Yeah, that too. But there was a lady there who was an advisor to the reformist progressive sort of faction of the parliament, and she was very staunchly defending the reformist. And he was famously a very cranky man, kind of a Norman Finkelstein style. So he was getting cranky, and I was getting cranky with him. So it was a really fantastic moment. It was lovely.
Really? So
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you met him in person at this meeting.
Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah, and yeah, I remember the lady was like, there's nobody else, and I just kind of lost it, and I was like, if you move aside, we would have fixed this nation. We would have fixed this country, please. It was a political situation. Come on, man. Sometimes you gotta. Yeah,
no, but how did you introduce yourself to him? How did you say hi? Can you reenact it right now?
Somebody introduced me.
Okay, and then
we had a mutual friend. So
okay. And then how did you say hi? No, I want to see how you went about it. Like you had to introduce. He's like, okay, this is my friend.
Oh, Mr.
Yeah.
No, this they were all much older than me, as you can tell, and I was much younger than now. So there was a gentleman who's of similar age to him, who's a mutual friend, and he was like, "Oh, this is Sam. He's a huge fan of yours." And then I was like, "Oh, hi. I'm a huge fan.
No,
like your work."
Oh yeah, okay. In Farsi, I want to see how you went about it.
Oh, let me. I can't think of Persian right. My mother tongue. سلام خیلی خوشبختم از ملاقاتتون. من خیلی دوست دارم کاراتونو. It's very nice.
Did you bend? Was there any bending or no? I hope you put your whole body.
No, but I don't do that.
A little bit? Do that. No, you have to bend a little bit, even if it's for the age.
No,
at least that. Okay.
No, you do that. No, you do that. Actually, I do that whenever, to be honest, with people who like give you food or
that
like
too.
with somebody who's actually. I try not to do that with some. I actually try to do a firm handshake type. I'm trying to establish equality between me and professor.
But he's older though.
Oh, he was more. No, he was old enough to be. And, even if he wasn't,
you
a
introduced
professor,
yourself
you had
as a fan,
respect.
so. So you already put yourself beneath him.
Not beneath.
Well, you should have been like.
I'm a fan.
I know of you. I've read your work. I've seen some of your
passive aggressive. Your work is interesting.
There's some interesting stuff in it.
But I have to say, it's a true tragedy because his type of Iranian nationalism is dying.
Yeah, unless you can carry it through, unless you can pick up the torch and make sure that lady gets out of your way, and then you go for it.
No, poor that lady, man. That lady was that lady didn't know it, but she was lunch.
You see ruthless mindset you got here.
I don't have a ruthless mindset. I'm not that's why I don't get into politics, because I don't want to do this ruthless shit. But if you get into politics and you think through reformism and sort of being nice, they are all liquidated. She's in a much worse position than I am right now. I believe me, they all got liquidated from the parliament, from all power.
Yeah.
So it's not that you hate reform. It's just that you don't think it's gonna work. But yeah, he was a great man. It's a shame that he's gone, and he was true Iranian philosopher. And I have to add this. You might like this, you might not. I don't know. But one of my favorite thing he would do is, because of his materialism, he was much more of a materialist. There is a famous Stoic philosopher, and the Stoic philosopher, they had a back and forth, and I know that a Stoic philosopher as well. I go to his meetings. You know the meetings I go to.
Yeah,
to them.
these
Yeah.
secret meetings of yours. I just
Not
can't
secret.
picture them. Can you take a photo or a video next time or something? I'm very curious.
They always take a photo themselves. They love fucking taking
Stop.
photos in the beginning and
Stop,
end.
sure. Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
But now imagining
I'll
what
take-
kind of photos. I
yeah.
feel like you line up like a football team or something like that.
Yes, they do exactly like that type of. Exactly, it's old men. What do you think they do? Do you think they do like, oh, somebody take a picture? No, let's line up. Like a goddamn military. But
The first
yeah,
person who
he
came
would-
up with the lineup ruined photos for everybody. He's like, okay, all
Seriously.
photos from now on, everybody lines up. I don't care.
I think I'm pretty sure it was whoever organized the last dinner with last supper with Jesus. I'm pretty sure it was that person. Whoever choreographed that fucking event is responsible. But at any rate, he would be so dismissive. He would be so dismissive of these sort of stoic and sort of idealistic philosophers. I remember he wrote an article, this philosopher, and he was kind of so happy about it that, you know, Iranian, well, where is Iran really? Is Iran a location, or is it in our heart, or is it a practice? And so, and he was like writing that type of article, which, by the way, I have some sympathies for that nonsense, but in a philosophical sense, but not like what he was talking. Like, you should read the whole article. Anyways, so he was talking about this. What is Iran really? Is it a place? Is it the idea? Is it the blah blah blah? And then he wrote an article. It was fantastic, saying Iran is here. Iran is. Right now, if you really are looking for it, come and find it. It's right. It was extremely dismissive of all this idea, you know, sort of idealist nonsense, I think. And he had a good sense of humor, if a very, very bitter tongue and a sort of a bitter sense of humor. But it was a fantastic one.
It's amazing.
And, you know, it's just, you don't see them like that. You know, he had Azeri accents, like my grandpa, and you know that. Yeah, sure.
By the way, how did you know my history? Like, how did you? Because I didn't know my background, right? Because I mean, not that I didn't know, but you know, I didn't know like these things. How did you know my background without me knowing it? Like, could you look at me like and tell, or like how did this?
No, because
how did this work?
when we were younger, I visited you at home.
And what, you went to documents and stuff?
No, you showed me a picture of your great grandpa.
And from that, how can you go for a picture?
It's you're from Tabriz, Azerbaijan.
Okay, I probably told you that. You probably asked me that. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
It's
all of it is what you told me.
I think you took two pieces of information and just came up with my family tree and background. And I have no way of even knowing if this is true or not, what you're saying. You might have been spreading lies about me for the past 3 years. One day saying like, oh, you know, you're these people. Oh, you know, he's just like them.
Yeah, look at this. He said, you're a Sayed. Him and Tucker Carlson, you know, all these people. He's just like Tucker Carlson, like people.
I mean, you could have well been insulting me for 2 years.
By the way, people don't know. People don't know.
How old am I? Do you know my real age, Cam? You've been lied to. You're 36.
Come here, I'm your real father. What?
Peanut is not yours. What do you think I bought her?
I'm the real father of your dog. Actually, it was a mistake. Yes, no, it's the same city and same Sayed. Sayed is, if again our audience don't know if there was anything just in this world, Sayeds used to rule Iran. So you know you missed out. You missed out on the whole rule.
I didn't know about it until now. Thanks for making me feel worse.
Yeah, I know, right?
What it could have been.
Let me make you feel. You know, you are qualified to run for a king to run for kingship.
You're only telling me this now.
I know,
When
right?
I'm 36.
I waited till it's too late. I didn't want you to, I have one friend. I don't want him to go and become a king or something. Goddamn. But yeah, anyways, it was a interesting week. Not, probably not very dramatic events happened, but I think we did a good coverage of some of the bullshit.
No,
that
you
has
did a
happened.
really good job. You came well prepared, rehearsed, you knew your material.
Yeah, thank
Really
you.
cool.
And just at the end, I want to
Departed,
suggest.
huh? Oh,
No,
Body of Lies.
Body of Lies. And since we can't,
Wait,
afford,
Body of Lies
frankly,
is which one? It's the
anything.
diamond one? Where he's South African?
No, that's Blood Diamond.
Oh, what's Body of
Lies
Lies?
is a Ridley Scott film with Golshifteh Farahani and Leonardo DiCaprio and what's his name? Russell Crowe, and they are in Jordan, and he's a sort of an American spy.
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe there's actually a movie that I've watched and seen probably at the movies 2008, yeah, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah, we watched. I remember.
Yeah, maybe
I think we watched it at home. We watched it at home. Yeah, I think we watched it together at my place, but I'm not sure. Anyway, it's I think it's a very, very underrated film, and
of course there's Leo in it.
Okay, and I think it's a very if you change the name of the what's that? Was that Leo?
Yeah. It's just because of the light. Yeah. I zoomed in into a picture of him wearing glasses. Anyway.
I see. Anyways, I think it's a very underrated movie. It's got this lady, the same lady we were talking about, in it, and I suggest she should watch this movie again as well, because I think besides the fact that it's a very fun movie, you should, when you watch it, replace the name of the film with Jordan with Iran. Because I think it works very well, especially in the early years of War on Terror. And then besides that, I love this line from the end, and because we can't afford anything, I'm not going to play it, but for the best user experience, please immediately right now go to this video on YouTube and watch this clip here right now. We can't play it. Now, having seen that, in this scene, I think is one of the one of the best lines in the movie, probably the best line in the movie, which is Russell Crowe says that I forget what Russell Crowe says, but Leonardo DiCaprio is like, yeah, I have to, well, I want to stay in the Middle East. And then Russell Crowe is like, what, are you kidding? Nobody wants to stay in the Middle East. And there is nothing to like here. And then Leonardo DiCaprio says, maybe that's the problem. And I 100% think that Iranian opposition that is spending its time traveling around the world within less than 80 days, it seems, trying to shore up support. Perhaps they should come here. Perhaps they should, instead of going to Bernard Henley Levy, maybe you should come and visit those parents whose children have been attacked. There are a lot of, there's Nasrin Sotoudeh, a famous Iranian writer in jail. Why nobody,
Yeah.
It's very odd to me. Anyways, I'm just saying.
By the way, I forgot to tell you this. It's very much related. So remember 2 weeks ago, I was in Paris, right? And then we were out of the hotel because we were checked out. And so we were in the street, but we just wanted to go. We had to take a cab, Uber from where we were, because we thought it'd be faster to go to the hotel and get our suitcase. And then one street down, we just get stuck. And it's not moving. So, okay, we have to get out and we'll go take the subway. We go. And guess what was blocking us? It's extremely related to what you were just saying. Like, why the streets had a traffic jam?
I was just talking about how people should stay in Middle East, but no
it's
idea.
Extremely related. Think about, the Levy guy that you were just talking about and all this. Anyway, there was an Iranian protest with Shah flags. Yeah, Iranian protest with Shah flags.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I laughed so hard everywhere.
I always try to, whenever I want to fight the American empire, I usually try to get away from it as far as I can, and then go on a really, really isolated island. Fuck you! Did they hear? Did they hear? Good, good, good. I hate you. Do you have Coca-Cola? Can I have Coca-Cola? Do you have any Coca-Cola? No. Pathetic, man. Most of the, I mean, but these people are doing it every week. I was telling my father. No, I mean, fuck them, whatever. But I'm saying the people who show up in the streets with the flags, they show up every week. Do people not have jobs? Is there, like, if there is that many people every week, they have this much time, maybe they should be put into good work. There is actually, like, cancer is not cured yet, guys. But get on it.
But yeah, it's funny. A lot of these kind of protests, though, these kind of small ones, they organize them on weekends, you know, so like a Sunday activity.
Yeah, it's a picnic. It's a picnic. It's a social event. It's not. It's really, truly, at this point, I genuinely, with the evidence we have and the history that is behind us, the peaceful protest is social activity. All right. That's
definitely maybe has an extremely big social element to it. That is for sure.
I would say that's the 80% of its. I mean, why am I giving like percentage about?
No, but yeah, you're right. Though. It's such a big part of it, and I mean, you know, so
no, it's just bullshit. Like 80% of this, I got angry at myself. But yeah, I think it's. Yeah, it's nonsense, though. It is nonsense. I think it largely acts as a social sort of thing rather than as political change, whatever. Anyways, but yeah, I would say I hate. I was just recently thinking that I really, if I were people of Brussels, I would 100% at this point would turn completely like reactionary, because every goddamn week everybody has a problem with their dictators at home, comes to Brussels to protest. Oh, what like in Iran, you hate Iran, Islamic Republic, get
no, this
in
was
Brussels.
In Paris.
You don't like America, you don't like America's actions in Iraq, in Brussels. Death to American empire. Just what did the Brussels do? What did they do?
No, this is fun. This one is in Paris. But my favorite one are the protests that happened in Geneva. Because in Geneva, outside the UN, there's this famous chair, a huge, gigantic chair, which has 3 legs and one, like a huge, it's like a UN thing built. Just like, it's not a chair you sit on, it's literally like the size of a building. And it has 3 legs instead of 4, representing one of them having been blown up by a mine. Like, that's the thing. And that's where all the protests happen. And man, there are 1 or 2 that are just hilarious because it creates no traffic around it because there are 100 people, right? Like the square can handle it.
Oh,
like,
is that that level of
and the most common one it has to do with like an Indian Pakistani cause. I don't think it's not Kashmir. It's just another one. But
Bangladesh?
Perhaps. But they're there week in, week out on the same days. It's for years. Like they just go back.
That's their job, man. That's their job.
But those are always happen there. And like one of their favorite types of decoration are like flags with like the picture of someone in the middle. I guess someone who, got killed.
And again, I don't mind, like, if you enjoy it, it's fun, but don't pretend you're changing the world or you're fighting something that you're not, I'm just saying. But yeah, it's I in London, the one you see the most are the sort of Israeli and Palestinian, like both of them. You see like the same people year after year showing up in front of the same shops. Boycott, don't boycott. Anyways.
But yeah, okay, great stuff. I guess if anybody has any questions on Iranian philosophy, Sam's famous meetings, we want to see a picture, Nick. You can blur the people's face, or at least show it to me privately.
I don't know. I'm gonna ask. No, I'll show you a picture of the shitty meetings I go every week. I will. I don't know if I have a picture with him. I thought maybe somebody took a picture that night. But
and there's food at these meetings too, right? Or You guys
They
have dinner?
small meetings. We go to a restaurant, so you know, yeah, they order food, and they do a whole Italian style thing that they order first appetizer, then salad, then soup, then food, then antipasta, then tea, then
and drinks,
whatever.
but no, right? No drinks.
Sometimes, if not at the restaurant, yeah, drinks. If not at the restaurant. Wine usually, not
not whiskey. I thought you were gonna say whiskey.
Whiskey, yeah, whiskey too. Not in Iran. I don't know why vodka is considered a party drink, not whiskey. For some whiskey is
a
more.
lot of places, although vodka people also sip on it, but whiskey, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, never beer, for example, never beer.
Yeah, but maybe that's because it's Iran, though. It's tougher to come across beer.
But you get homemade wine.
True. Yeah, I guess
True.
it suits more the meetings there,
more often.
cracking open a beer. Okay, as I was saying, the history of
By
Iran.
the way, Althusser famously said, "Chug it, chug it, chug it." Deleuze was into doing tequila shots when he was writing.
Honey, can you bring us some lime and salt, please? Thank you.
Do you do it without the salt? You're crazy. You're crazy. Foucault is crazy, guys. Foucault is doing it without the salt and lemon, just pure. You got the. Oh man,
but okay, all right, great stuff.
Yeah, anyway.
If anybody has any comments, questions, criticisms, please leave them below. We'll make sure to get to them. If not, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.